From clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood now at 5 a.m.
Now on News 6 Mornings, two key decisions from the state Supreme Court, the amendments they are expected to rule on today and how it could impact the upcoming election.
Plus, Orlando City Commissioners set to meet for the first time since the arrest of one of their own, who now has to decide if Regina Hill stays or goes.
In a major data breach impacting millions of current and former AT&T customers, what the company is urging everyone to do now in order to protect their personal information. Good morning on your Monday. It is 5 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Bridget Ellison, and Trooper Steve's watching your roads this morning. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas here in for Candace. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. We're going to warm things up even further. It was a warm Easter Sunday, and that warmth is going to continue before we have some other changes on the other side of the middle of the week. We're going to break all this stuff down right now, but a nice comfortable start for you on a Monday on April 1st. 66 for us right now at Cape Canaveral. Good morning in Cocoa Beach. We are at 65. 62 for us in Melbourne. Nice and quiet in Kissimmee and Point Siena. Good morning. We're back to the low 60s. Leesburg, we are checking in at 65 degrees. In the Villages, we're back to the upper 50s. That is our cool spot this morning. Right now, we just have a few higher thin clouds pushing through. That's what you see back on your screen. Other than that, we will see sunshine filter through, and that sunshine will help to get us back into the mid to upper 80s. So a couple degrees warmer than where we were yesterday, a couple degrees cooler than where we're headed tomorrow, where we could surge back into record territory. 75 for us by 11 o'clock and remainly clear sky, partly cloudy skies by 1. Temperatures top out again into the upper 80s. Even warmer tomorrow before a big time cool down for the end of your work week. We're going to break all of that down coming up in about 15 minutes. First, though, I want to get you a check on those roads with traffic safety expert Trooper Steve.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good morning to you guys as we start April. Few spotty crashes to talk about. First, right here, Orange Blossom Trail at Lake Pleasant. This just came out a few moments ago. Reported with some closure and some entrapment. As the morning continues, we'll get some information, but this is going to be your Apopka area. Please be careful. Just north of Hiawassee and 441. Another one just south of there at Silver Star and Pine Hills. Outside of that, we're in pretty decent shape. No major construction going on out there, east or westbound within Seminole, Orange County. Maitland, good morning to you. Out on the east side, Azalea Park, 408 and State Road 417 still running pretty smooth this morning, and the airport, no problems along 528. Guys, back to you.
Happening today, two big rulings in the state's top court.
Yeah, Florida Supreme Court justices are expected to issue rulings today, deciding if two controversial amendments should end up in the November ballot. News 6's Mark Lehman is taking a closer look at the measures and joins us in studio. Mark, the topics, marijuana and abortion.
They're two very hot political topics in an election year. Both of the issues got enough signatures to appear on the November ballot, but the state is challenging each of them, saying the proposed amendments aren't worded clearly. If each of the issues survives the challenge and appears on the November ballot, they need 60% of voters saying yes to be approved. Florida Supreme Court justices are expected to issue their ruling at 4 this afternoon. Crystal?
Mark, in just a matter of hours, Orlando City Commissioners are set to meet for the first time since the arrest of one of their own.
That's right. Commissioner Regina Hill was arrested last week, accused of stealing from a 96-year-old woman. State investigators say she used this elderly woman's identity to fraudulently purchase a house, used her money to purchase things like clothing and cosmetic procedures and trips. Right now, Hill is still a city commissioner, and the only person who can remove her is the governor.
The appropriate action has traditionally been to suspend that official at that point. I would assume that's what's going to happen. We'll have to see if this happens, what the indictment looks like, but that's typically what we've done in these cases.
Commissioner Hill released a statement on Friday saying she loved and cared for that 96-year-old like a member of her own family. While she mentioned the woman's name, we've decided not to name her since she is an alleged victim. Now, at this point, it appears Commissioner Hill will be at today's meeting, and that is set to begin at 2 this afternoon.
And developing now a huge data breach involving millions of AT&T customers. The company admitting the personal information from up to 73 million people ended up on the dark web, including social security numbers and mailing addresses. News 6's Ezzy Castro is following the latest on this and joins us live this morning. Ezzy, this breach doesn't just impact current customers, but previous ones as well.
Bridget, it's definitely not what you want to hear if you're an AT&T customer like myself, or if you were an AT&T customer. Now, this comes after actually there was a nationwide outage back in February that left tens and thousands of people without service for hours. Now, the company said it had already notified about 7.6 million customers. However, there's still millions of more customers that have not been notified about this, and they're asking people to keep an eye out for any weird credit activity. We're now live in College Park. Ezzy Castro, results, News 6.
Thanks, Ezzy. We'll be checking with Orlando firefighters today to see if they're any closer to figuring out what sparked this large fire at an abandoned hotel. The flames erupted early Saturday morning at the former iDrive Grand Resort and Suites off South Kirkman Road. It's not far from International Drive. Officials say when crews arrived, the flames have already burned at least 25% of that building. No one was hurt in this. However, city officials say one person was found inside and escorted safely out.
In a matter of hours, the city of Orlando is set to take a final vote on extending the moratorium on new bars and nightclubs in downtown. It will last through September 20th. The ban was first put in place last March following several shootings in downtown. Commissioners say they still need more time to figure out the best ways to regulate businesses. Today's meeting is set for 2 o'clock.
All right, Jonathan, and for Candace, just like that Powerball jackpot, our afternoon temps are going to be hot.
They are, yeah. Temperatures get back to the mid to upper 80s again today. Nice, comfortable start, though. We're back to the mid 60s. The Cape right now, 62 for us waking up in Daytona Beach. Kissimmee, we're also at 62 for us into Vieira, into Melbourne. We're also waking up to temperatures in the lower 60s. The warmth going to be brought to us by this big chunk of high pressure out over the Atlantic. It's pumping in all of that warmth. You see all the cloud cover back out to the west, though, in Louisiana, coming out of Texas. There's that area of low pressure. This is likely going to make national headlines, unfortunately, with a big-time severe weather outbreak in parts of the plains and into parts of Indiana to Ohio over the next couple of days as well. That system works its way into our direction. It will be much weaker by that time, but you see what happens as that front comes through. Our rain chances do go up by the time we get into Wednesday. This front also ushers in the next round of colder air for the end of the work week. We'll talk about how chilly it gets again after potentially getting into record territory again tomorrow, coming up in just a couple of minutes. First, though, I do want to get you a check on those roads. Send things over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right, so DOT cams, not the best this morning, so we're trying to get those working for you. But right now, OBT and Lake Pleasant Road, we're watching a crash out in this area, so if you're familiar with Apopka, be careful. Silver Star and Pine Hills, also some southbound delays. Like I said earlier, I-4 still looking good, and the east side. If you're headed out towards the airport, today's going to be a busy day out there. Some coming in, some leaving, all that fun stuff as the holiday weekend wraps up. So just make sure you're paying attention. 436 on both the north and the south side here where it turns into Osceola County. You leave Lake Nona, come out here to Simpson or Boggy Creek looking pretty smooth. Pleasant Hill, this is the only time that there's no traffic because everyone's still asleep as you're headed northbound approaching 1792. Ham Brown and Poinciana Boulevard looking good. Out on the east side, east US 192, not bad. Guys, back to you.
All right, Trooper Steve, 509, a close call caught on camera.
A man narrowly hit with a wayward saw blade. Coming up, what he did just seconds before that likely saved his life.
But first, flames inside a church right in the middle of Easter services. At least 5 people were hurt, including firefighters. Up next, what we're now learning about a possible cause. You're watching News 6 mornings on a Monday, getting results for Altamont Springs, Port Orange, and all of Central Florida.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AutoNation. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer. Weather with meteorologist Candace Campos and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
Developing now, an investigation is underway in Brooklyn after flames ripped through a church as hundreds were gathered for Easter Sunday Mass. This is a look at just how crazy that fire was and what crews were up against when they arrived. New this morning, a Pick 5 lotto winner calls News 6 for help after the state freezes her cash prize to cover an unemployment overpayment. News 6 investigator Mike Hofeld got involved and got results, of course, helping that woman make ends meet. A close call caught on camera in Oregon.
A man escaped serious injury with seconds to spare. Take a look here. You can see him walk into a convenience store in the town of Eugene, Oregon, and then watch the parking lot. Oh no, just after he gets inside,
whoa,
a metal blade from a concrete saw hurled toward the store. Look at that, wow. Whew. And it landed just inches away from the door.
Oh my God, I tears all night. Like, yeah, it was terrifying. I was I was shaking in the store. It took me a little bit before I could talk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Besides being really shaken up, he was not hurt. Officials say it came from a nearby construction site, guys.
What were they doing with that big old blade?
I'm sure that got loose from a device that they were sawing into the
my goodness.
asphalt.
Yeah,
there.
it was concrete
But,
for sure, yeah.
Final destination like 17 right there.
He
coming
needs
out.
to get a lottery ticket today. Today.
Oh, yeah. Someone's
Wow.
looking out for him,
Yeah.
for sure. Someone's looking out for us in the weather department,
Oh,
guys.
good.
Yeah, temperatures getting back to the 80s. Probably the nicest weather I would imagine in the entire country today.
That's a lot to say.
It is. But I mean, we typically have at this time, maybe not so much this winter. We've had a lot of clouds. We've had a lot of rain at times. We're back to the low 60s right now with a few of those high wispy clouds coming back through. That is a live look in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando delivering Hope Skycam. The breeze is nice and light. Out of the southwest, it's that southwesterly wind component, though, that's going to help to pump our temperatures back up into the mid to upper 80s today, even warmer getting into tomorrow. Good morning in Palm Coast. Bunnell, we're back into the low 60s. We're at 59 in the Villages. Into Coleman, Bushnell, we're back into the low to mid 60s. Now here's a look at your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your weather forecast is sponsored by Fairwinds.
Temperatures today make a run for the upper 80s. We're back to the lower 70s by 10. Great afternoon to hit the greens. Great afternoon to take lunch outside. We're back to the upper 70s today. Even though we're going to be warm again, the humidity staying away. It's that nice, comfortable warmth, if you will, like what we had yesterday. Now we'll get you a check of your pinpoint accurate 7-day forecast. So a lot of changes on this 7-day. There are near record temperatures again tomorrow. 70% shot for rain coming through. That's with that bigger system as we get into the first part of Wednesday. And then look at the cooler air behind it. Mid 70s on Thursday, lower 70s on Friday. I think on Friday morning, we're going to have a lot of areas, especially for us northwest of I-4, waking up in the 40s. The chill is not over yet. Now we'll get you a check on those roads. Send things over to traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve.
You know, man, your weather-wise segments that you've been doing, I feel highly educated.
I'm glad you like it.
I sent your solar eclipse one to like, oh no, not the solar eclipse one, the Northern Lights explainer.
Yeah.
To probably 20 people.
Hey man, that's awesome.
You guys got to head to clickorlando.com, watch that. If you think you could possibly see Northern Lights here, Jonathan explains it, and it's pretty good. Southbound 75, exit 341. I got a minor crash there. And then just south here. So this is showing shut down here. Southbound 441, also 27 north of the Villages from County Road 25A down to 132nd Street. So please be careful as you cruise through this area. Again, north of the Villages area. Let's jump south as we clear some stuff up. Apopka, you're decent. As you make your way southbound, though, we do have a crash here at OBT and Lake Pleasant. You can already start to see some of those southbound delays here before you get to Hiawassee. Now, Apopka PD probably working this one. Once we get some more information, I'll let you guys know. Outside of that, it's not too bad. The rest of us are clearing up. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. The time is now 5:21 on your Monday. The pain at the pump is getting worse.
At the bottom of the hour, how much more you're paying to fill up as gas prices hit a new high.
But first, struggling with high blood pressure? You may just want to take a look into your past. Up next, what the condition may have started decades earlier.
You did more than get results. You have brought joy back in my life.
I hope that you can touch everybody like you touched me and my family.
We're 1 week from an out-of-this-world sight, a total solar eclipse.
Yeah, next Monday, millions from Texas to New England will be in the path of totality. But if you're thinking of making a trip to see it, get ready to pay up. We did some checking, and if you plan on heading to Texas, a flight to the Dallas-Fort Worth area the day before the eclipse is going for around $1,900. And when it comes to hotels, it's not much cheaper. A stay in Buffalo the night before the eclipse, close to $900.
Consider staying at hotels outside of the path of totality and driving into the path in the afternoon on Monday. That way you'll pay a lower rate but can still experience the eclipse.
Experts say if you're planning on traveling for the eclipse, book your trip now as prices are expected to go even higher.
Still to come on News 6 Mornings, a major data breach impacting millions of current and past AT&T customers.
At the bottom of the hour, the information posted to the dark web and what you can do now to protect your information.
We're just hours away from two big decisions by the state Supreme Court, from recreational marijuana to abortion. Rulings justices are expected to release. You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results for Cocoa, Castleberry, and all of Central Florida.
No matter what's happening where you live, trust Sky 6 to get you the bigger picture. Exclusively sponsored by attorney Dan Newland. Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
Florida voters await as the state Supreme Court is about to decide if you'll be able to vote on 2 controversial issues. The key rulings now set to come down in just hours.
Plus, gunfire at an Oviedo apartment complex leaves a woman hurt and leads to a standoff that lasted hours. The questions we're waiting for police to answer this morning about the suspect. Plus,
tens of thousands, tens of millions of AT&T customers being warned they may have been a victim of a massive data breach, why your personal information could be at risk even if you're not currently a customer. Good morning, Central Florida. It's 5:30. I'm Bridget Ellison.
And I'm Crystal Moyer. We want to start with a check of your pinpoint weather with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. And for Candace, and you said it is the best weather throughout the U.S. today?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Temperature is going to be back to the mid-80s. The humidity, of course, not back yet. It's been nice and comfy the past couple of days. Yeah, I think so. 64 for us right now in Sanford. Good morning in the Villages. We're right around 60, 58 in Palm Coast, 66 degrees at the Cape right now. A nice, comfortable start with just a few passing clouds out there. That's what we can see there on the screen with that white-gray color kind of sliding in from the northwest to southeast. We're going to be in and out of some of those higher wispy clouds. That's about it, though. The sunshine going to get right on through and help to warm us back into the mid to upper 80s today. 66 by 9. We're into the mid 70s by 11. Great afternoon for lunch outside. 81 by 1 o'clock. 87 degrees by 3 o'clock later on today. Once we get into tomorrow, we're back into record territory. We are pushing 90 degrees before we turn things much cooler. We're breaking it all down coming up in about 15 minutes. First, though, I want to get you a check on those roads with traffic safety expert Trooper Steve.
All this description of great weather, I was waiting for you to be like, April Fools, but no, it's gorgeous outside. It's going to be great. 441 southbound, north of the Villages. We're watching this crash here that has roadblock from County Road 25A down towards 132nd Street. So please be careful as you're headed southbound there this morning. The Villages, though, for the most part, right in the Lady Lake area, can see some of you early risers starting to wake up there. Just be careful this morning. No major issues. I am watching this, though, in Apopka along 441 Orange Blossom Trail at Lake Pleasant Road. Guys, back to you.
Right now, we're waiting for Oviedo police to tell us the name of the man they say shot a woman before holding officers in a standoff for hours. The dangerous scene unfolded yesterday at Oviedo Town Center Apartments off of Oviedo Boulevard. Police say when they arrived just before 4, they found the victim shot twice. They say the suspect then refused to come out. The SWAT team ended up responding and was able to get the man in custody about 2.5 hours later. The woman who was shot is expected to be okay. Jury selection could begin as early as today in Orange County at the trial of a man accused of attacking Orlando police officers and streaming it live on Facebook. Police say William McClish set up a camera downtown in 2021 and went after the officers with a brick. One officer had a significant facial injury. The other was bitten. McClish faces several charges, including attempted first-degree murder. Court records show he plans to represent himself at trial.
Now to that massive data breach involving AT&T. The company is warning 73 million customers their personal information may have been compromised. And this morning, experts say even if your name isn't on that list, that doesn't mean your information isn't at risk. News 6's Ezzy Castro is following this story live. And Ezzy, the company says it's just started the process of notifying people about this.
In Baltimore, work has now begun to cut away steel beams of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. Officials are warning, though, it will take a long time still. The bridge crashed down into the water last week after a support column was hit by a cargo ship that had lost power. 6 construction workers were killed. The disaster shut down the busy port of Baltimore, and it can't reopen until the debris is cleared out.
We have a ship that is nearly the size of the Eiffel Tower that is now stuck within the channel that has the Key Bridge sitting on top of it. This is going to be a long road. It's a very complex operation.
Now, the city's mayor says $300,000 has been set aside for the families of the victims who died in the collapse. 4 of them have not yet been found.
Thousands of Orange County teachers have until today to decide whether or not to sign off on a new contract that includes some big raises. The deal announced last month includes a historic raise of nearly 10% for most teachers. It also includes increases to health care costs, but the district agreed to delay the full price hike until the 2025-2026 school year instead of later this year. The district says the union will accept ballots until 1 this afternoon, and if the contract is approved, the raises in retroactive pay would start in next week's paychecks.
Hanging around 60 degrees right now. You could be paid to be wrong, I guess. Just check out your bracket. That's always my argument when someone says that, hey, fill out the bracket. No matter how much you know, sometimes it doesn't work out. But we do our best here. 61 degrees for us in the Villages. Good morning in Leesburg. We are at 65, 62 degrees in Kissimmee, 66 degrees at Cape Canaveral right now. Nice and comfy. You see the big blue chunk on your screen right now. All this blue represents, again, colder than normal temperatures, again, in the 6 to 10 day outlook. That's going to be from about April 7th through April 11th. We have a very strong cold front slicing through on Wednesday. That is going to help to increase rain chances significantly for us by Wednesday. Then behind it, that's when the cooler air comes through, potentially bottoming out in the 40s by the end of the work week. Now, climatologically speaking, we typically see our last night in the 40s on April 8th. That's about the right time when that cold front comes on through. So we're going to take a look at that coming up in your 7-day forecast. Before we get into that, though, I want to get you a check on those roads with traffic safety expert Trooper Steve.
To basketball and weather, and you're all excited over there.
It's, I mean, a combination of sports and weather. There's nothing better in my world.
Well, hey, to each their own,
yeah.
Right? Okay, so OBT, hey, listen up. Apopka has issued a traffic alert out here. This is now shut down. So OBT and Lake Pleasant Road, if you're trying to head in this direction, please avoid it. They have a detour set up. It's going to cause you some delays this morning. Silver Star and Pine Hills also running clear, and the rest of us not too bad. Now, last week, we had a great time out on patrol. I welcomed in one of the most amazing women I know and great law enforcement here, Deputy Chief Robin Griffin Kitsero. She is the highest ranking woman in history over at UCF PD, and a great conversation. Head to clickorlando.com to check that out. Today is April Fool's Day, y'all, and anybody in this building knows me. I'm a prankster. So I'm hijacking my patrol stream today for a kind of fun event. I'm going to be welcoming in the Orlando Bushman here today. I know you're probably, what? Okay, Google it. All right, 10 a.m., clickorlando.com. Y'all, you ain't going to want to miss this. Back to you guys.
Don't Google that.
It's funny, though. It's funny.
The price for gas going in the wrong direction.
Still ahead on this Monday, what experts say is behind a recent price spike and how much you can expect to pay the next time you fill up.
But first, after recent health concerns, the Pope delivers an Easter message, his message for the world when it comes to the current war in the Middle East.
Trooper Steve on Patrol is sponsored by Gibson Truck World. We are the king of trucks.
What's it like behind the scenes of a national daytime talk show? I'll show you, because I was a guest on the Drew Barrymore show and I recorded everything. Get a peek at what truly goes on backstage. Watch my behind the scenes videos now. Then, if you want more details or have questions, ask me. I'll be answering them live on April 4th. Check it all out at clickorlando.com/insider.
Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer. Weather with meteorologist Candace Campos and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
Despite ongoing concerns about his health, Pope Francis presided over Easter Sunday Mass and delivered a message from the Vatican yesterday. SpaceX celebrating another milestone weekend after 2 launches at the Cape just a few hours apart. The first Falcon 9 took a communication satellite into orbit from the Kennedy Space Center Saturday night. Then just 3 hours and 38 minutes later, another rocket blasted off from the Space Force Station with more Starlink internet satellites on board. Both missions were a success. Meantime, we're waiting for word on when the United Launch Alliance will try again to launch the final mission ever for the Delta IV Heavy rocket. That was originally set for Thursday, but was called off with just a few minutes left in the countdown because of a technical problem.
Well, Easter egg hunts aren't uncommon this time of year, but what about one with 60,000 eggs?
What?
Yep. This is drone video from a big egg run in Port St. Lucie over the weekend. They're racing to collect those plastic eggs. with treats inside. The annual event spread over 5 sports fields. And they had different age groups broken up, so that helps out some.
I imagine us, our age bracket, doing stuff like that, full sprint.
I feel like you need a strategy. I feel like you need to run all the way out, you know, because people are going to stay close and try to
get it to the other side.
Thank you, and then make your way back.
There you go.
I don't think my knees are going to make that.
Don't compete with me though. I will
get all the candy.
You're going to get an elbow. I'm very competitive.
I'm going to need a wheelchair for that.
Yeah, had to get that candy inside quick yesterday. It was warm, and it's going to be back in that ballpark again today. Temperatures tomorrow going to jump into record territory. It's a live look right now in Daytona Beach with our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia Skycam. We have air temperatures in the low 60s. Just a few passing clouds right now. The breeze light out of the south at about 5 miles an hour. It's that southerly wind that's going to push our temperatures back into the mid to upper 80s today. 61 for us in the Villages. We are at 60 in Ocala, Palm Coast, and to Denellen. We're back to the upper 50s right now. We're at 62 in Daytona Beach. Ormond Beach, we're checking in the low to mid 60s right now. Now here's a look at your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Very nice afternoon coming our way. 62 by 8. We're back to the lower 70s by 10, hanging around 78 by lunchtime with a mix of sun and clouds. Temperature is going to get back into that warm category. We're running about 5 to 10 degrees above where we should be. Temperatures tomorrow even warmer. Again, warm today with that sun cloud mixture. And then once we get into tomorrow for your Tuesday, that's when we're going to be talking about temperatures potentially breaking records, at least getting into record territory before another round of chilly air returns. So there's the tumble that we take as we get into Thursday afternoon. Again, from 90 to the low to mid 70s Thursday afternoon, lower 70s on Friday. And again, that's the morning where we're going to be in the 40s and 50s, 40s and 50s again Saturday morning. But a gorgeous weekend coming our way, 74 with a whole lot of sunshine on Saturday afternoon, back to the mid 70s with a few extra clouds on Sunday. Now we'll get you a check on those roads. Send things over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve.
Thank you, Jonathan. Things pretty smooth out here. We're still watching these spotty crashes here in the city of Apopka. I need you to be careful here at Orange Blossom Trail at Lake Pleasant. They are reporting southbound lanes are shut down out here. This is a serious crash. Another one here at Silver Star and Pine Hills. That lane shift that we were just talking about, this is where the area it's going to be, our attractions area. So please be careful throughout there. Your drive times are running pretty good. I have a quick update for you guys. Remember last week we featured Reginald with Orange County Animal Services. I am proud to announce we got results, ladies and gentlemen. Osceola County Deputy Pop went up and adopted, we're going to call him Reggie here, and he now has his new forever home. After watching the stream over at clickorlando.com, he hit me up and said, I'm going to go bond this guy out. So Reggie, we are so happy that we could help you find your home. We're going to find more, I promise. Ladies, back to you.
This is Steve. You're like, my boy Reggie's been bailed out of jail. I'm like, who's Reggie?
Yeah.
I'm so glad he has his forever home.
Happy ending.
Yes, he had a big smile on his face. Yes. Well, new concerns about blood pressure, not for adults, but for kids.
Still ahead, why doctors now say problems could begin a lot sooner than first thought.
But first, decision day when it comes to 2 controversial ballot amendments. The ruling's expected in just hours. Next, as we check our big stories.
Trooper Steve on Patrol is sponsored by Gibson Truck World. We are the king of trucks.
Not only did you get results, but you got them fast. It was amazing how fast things were. You do a fantastic job.
5:56 now. Let's check our big stories. The Florida Supreme Court is set to decide today if 2 controversial amendments will make it on the November ballot. One would legalize recreational marijuana. The other would protect abortion rights up until viability.
A man is in custody accused of shooting a woman in Oviedo. Police say the suspect held police in a standoff for hours at the Oviedo Town Center apartments before he was finally arrested.
AT&T saying the personal information of more than 70 million current and former customers has been leaked to the dark web. The company says it's now notifying those impacted. Get ready for near record heat.
Ahead at 6, how hot it will get and when our next chance for storms arrives.
And the Orlando City Council set to meet today for the first time since the arrest of Commissioner Regina Hill. Big questions this morning about her political future.
Don't miss out on exclusive News 6 content. Become a News 6 insider. Visit clickorlando.com/insider to sign up.